I want to talk about something that's very important. I've mentioned it in other videos, but if you're searching for double dies, you need to know this. It warrants its own video. It'll also get you to look at other double dies and images of double dies because that is what you should be doing before you look at double dies on your coins or try to find double dies on your coins. So we really need to talk about this. Pay attention to this video very closely, what I say. But first, here's my coinauctionshelp.com website. And I'm saying coinauctionshelp.com. I know I run my words together a little bit, but if you go to my website, right here is the URL. It is in my pinned comment and description of this video. Ask him an error question, and you can use our chat bot that I trained, and I'm always training ongoing. Or you could go to grading guides, mint error guides, photo grade, and then you've got the help community here. I do have some ads. Just make sure you click off them because I do not charge for this. This is completely free. I don't have ads on my help community, just on my website here. I've tried to make it as simple as possible, easy as possible. You would click here after you read the guidelines. You can watch the video on how to post. And when you do, you'll go right here and you can click try our mint error guide if you like. And you can post your question and we'll be glad to help you out. So let's talk about double dies. So we're over here on PCGS price guide. They have double dies with images listed with their values based off of the grade. Very important that your double die has a grade, at least a condition, so that you can value it. That's one of the aspects of any coin. You need to know where it stands in circulation, not circulated, or damaged, or cleaned, or that kind of thing. So we're looking at wheat cents first. And one of the most well-known double dies is the 1955 double die of Verse. One thing that I want to say right off the bat, this is the important thing about this video, is that this coin right here, this double die for 1955, was struck by one die pair. And that die that struck these coins looked exactly like this. The Verse die looked exactly like this right here. There's none that are similar or almost or a weaker version of it or a less split version of it. This is just one die pair. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Verse die and the reverse die. They were the same that struck this coin, and they have to look like this for the 1955 FS 101. The FS is Fivee Stanton. Fivee is still alive and still author of the Cherry Picker's Guide. That's who started the Cherry Picker's Guides. There's 3 volumes. We have them on our website if you're interested. But that's very important to look at this coin when you're looking for a 55 double die, if you think that you have one or you want to look for one, and see that it looks just like this. If it doesn't, you don't have it. Not this one. Not the one that's worth the most money. Now, there are other double dies for 1955. You hit the little plus button, and there's none listed here because the values of them are really low. For 55, you've got a double die. It's a 55 Denver Mint, though. That's very important to note, too. And then you have the 55S, which has an RPM. You have multiple double dies for the date and sometimes the same mint. But the one that's worth the money is the one you're looking for, and you determine that by seeing if it's listed here on PCGS or Heritage Sold Auctions or Great Collections. You can see what they sell for there, even eBay. Or you look here at the price guide at PCGS. It'll show you what they're worth in each grade and which ones are worth the most. Another example is a 1936. There's a FS 102 and there's an FS 103. And when it comes to values, you want to know which one's equal, then you have to come up here to the price guide and see which one's selling for the most and which one's selling for the least. The 102 is the most valuable. So if you have the 103, you don't want to mistake it for being the double die for 36. You see what I'm saying? You want to make sure that the 102 is the one that you found before you get too excited, even though the 103 is worth some money, as you can see as it gets higher in grade, but it's really hard to find these in mint state and red. This is brown values here. You can see the red here. It's more difficult. But when you're looking at and that's the FS 103, but when you're looking at the FS 102, you can see how the values are here. It's worth a lot more. So that's the one you really want to be looking for. Not that you don't want to look for all of them, but the main thing about this video here that I'm doing, you need to know which one is worth the most and which one's not, and that they are struck by the same die pair. The 102's got its own die pair, obverse and reverse, front and back, and the same thing with 103. They're not the same die pairs. There's not, the 103 is not a weaker example of 102. That's what I want to make clear here. Same thing with the 1969S. This is one of the most confusing to people. I'm not really sure why, because it is so obvious. The splits on these, the spread, I should say, the spread on this one is really wide. So it's important that it looks like this. I see so many strike double coins being shown and ask about if it's a weaker version or a different version. It is not. Only one obverse die that was doubled just like this struck the 69. And that's it, 69S. And this is a San Francisco mint, and that's it. The 69D, might have a double die. We can go over and take a look at the Lincoln Memorials and see what the 69D has. No FG, FS 901. There might be one listed on Variety Vista, but it's not going to be the one that you want to find. At least if you're looking for the money coin, the one that's worth the most. As you can see, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars in certain grades. It's a lot of money, worth a lot of money. There's one on eBay right now for $104,000. Eagle Eye Coins has got it for sale. They're holding out for the big money. Then the 72 double die is another one. Only one obverse struck this. But I can tell you something. I can't imagine how many double dies are for the date 72. But only one of them is the FS 101. They're cataloged by their die pair, and that is extremely important to know. I'm going to be redundant a little bit with you because I want to strike it home that the obverse die here, there's no other struck like this. This is it. This is the only double die for that die pair, and it has to look like this. And you see the spread. Very large spread. When you look at 72 over here on the price guide itself, you can click the little plus sign on all of these and just see how many double dies they have listed. They've only got the 101 here, but if you look down through here, you've got 102, 103, 104. 104 is a good one to find too. And that's the thing. It's not a weaker version of the 101 because the 101 was a different obverse die. It has its own obverse die. The 104 has its own obverse die. And that goes for all of these. Look at how many are listed for 72. There's more than this. There's at least, I know 30 or 40 of the 72 double dies if you go over to Variety Vista, but most of them are just Master Hub doubled. They're not really, and I say that because the Master Hub created the working dies, working hubs, and they could have created who knows how many. So there's double dies for 72. It's one of the dates where it's not hard to find a double die, but most of them are on a 2, and it's just really minor, very minor. So you want to look for the ones that are worth the money. I'm going to open up for the 104 here, trying to find it. But you want to look and see what this looks like because this is not easy to find, but it's a rare one. And I'll show you this. Do you see on the reverse? That's strike doubling. That's flat field strike doubling with a little bit of striations. And you can see where it's not completely struck because the obverse on that is a higher relief, so it was harder to strike this area of the coin. You'll see that a lot on these Lincoln cents. So this one you can see fattening of the letters in God We, a little bit on the Liberty, and over here is often a cud, not always, but there's usually a little cud on the rim here. Now, if you have one with a cud, does not mean it's the double die. It also has to be a double die. Because remember, there's only one die pair, and the ones that are really rare were pulled before they struck too many coins. And by the way, that's some beautiful toning there. I like how that plays off of the lighting and the contrast. It's really nice. But as you can see, it doesn't have the spread as the other ones. This is probably one of the more rare double dies that is not very obvious. You can see a little bit here on the 2. That's a hallmark for the double dies on 1972. You'll see that little 2. You might see a couple little humps here like little dragon tail or something. But you can see a little bit of thickening here of the 9, just a little bit of the 1. And the best thing to do is just compare it to a normal 1972. It's always good to have one example to look at. So guys and gals, that's what I wanted to tell you. I want the information that you need to know. You need to look at Double Die's pictures of your date before you think you found a double die on your coin. And then you want to realize that there's no weak or less struck version or anything close. It's not like horseshoes and hand grenades. You have to be exact. It's that die pair or it's not. So that's why there's FS 101, 02, 03, 04, and so on and so forth. So thanks for watching my latest video. I hope this helped you, and have a great day.